Hey there. Let me ask you something. Why do your knees and lower back just constantly ache, even when you're literally just sitting around resting? Seriously, think about that for a second. Because I'll never forget the afternoon I was just stepping off my front porch. Totally normal, everyday step, right? But out of nowhere, my knee violently buckled inward and my lower back just seized up in absolute blinding agony. I managed to grab the railing just in time, but man, the sheer terror of that near-miss catastrophic fall, it totally shook me to my core. It was a massive wake-up call, and it actually sent me down this crazy research rabbit hole where I discovered a, frankly, terrifying mechanical failure happening right inside my own body. So today, in this explainer, we're going to fix exactly that. We're pulling back the curtain on a super simple, science-backed routine. All right, let's just dive right into this.
So look, if you're over 60 and dealing with, unsteadiness, chronic backaches, or just bum knees, I've got some kind of wild news for you. You're probably treating the completely wrong body parts. Millions of folks are unknowingly walking around with a massive structural collapse. They're rubbing all these expensive creams on their knees when the real culprit is actually hiding a bit further up. But hey, there is massive hope here. I'm going to show you a super simple zero floor time reversal method that you can do right from the comfort of your own home. We're going to count down the top 5 movements today, but I'm deliberately keeping the absolute number 1 totally game-changing solution totally under wraps until the very end of our list. It requires literally 0 joint movement, and trust me, you are not going to want to miss it.
Okay, so what exactly is this terrifying mechanical failure I experienced on my porch? Well, clinically, it's known as gluteal amnesia. But in simple, everyday terms, it's basically dead muscle syndrome. See, after decades of sitting in office chairs, cars, on the couch watching TV, your nervous system literally just forgets how to contract your glutes. And your glutes are the absolute largest, most powerful muscle group in your entire body. When this crucial structural foundation essentially goes to sleep, the physical stress of your body weight, well, it doesn't just vanish into thin air, right? Instead, it violently transfers straight downwards into your delicate, aging knee joints and right up into your fragile lower back.
Now, the sheer gravity of this situation is what's really mind-blowing. When I was reading this landmark study from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, my jaw just dropped. It essentially proved that muscle weakness in the pelvic region is a primary predictor of severe, life-altering falls in older adults. It made me realize, whoa, without proper pelvic strength, a totally simple, everyday misstep like me literally just stepping off my porch can turn into a catastrophic, life-altering injury. The stakes are incredibly high here, folks.
But here's the really incredible news. While your lower back and your knees might be literally screaming in pain, what actually needs fixing are your gluteus maximus and gluteus medius. And the best part, we can completely reverse this whole dead muscle crisis from the absolute safety of your home. No heavy lifting, no scary gym equipment. We're going to rebuild that bulletproof foundation together, starting our 5-step countdown right now.
All right, coming in at number 5 on our countdown is the standing hip extension. I absolutely love this movement right off the bat because it safely targets your gluteus maximus, which, by the way, is your body's primary shock absorber, and it does it completely without forcing you to get down on your hands and knees on the floor.
So, here's exactly how we execute this safely. You're going to stand up nice and tall facing your kitchen counter and just place your hands lightly on the surface. This locks in your balance and gives your brain a total sense of security. Now, shift your weight to your left leg, keeping a very slight, soft bend in that knee just to protect the joint. Next, slightly brace your stomach and keeping your right leg totally straight, slowly push that foot backward. Now the big secret here, a super tiny range of motion. Honestly, I used to try kicking my leg way up in the air, but you really just need to push back a few inches until you feel a hard contraction right in the back of your hip. Hold it there for 2 seconds and then slowly lower it back down for 3.
Okay, so the absolute biggest mistake folks make here is leaning their chest forward or letting their lower back arch, just trying to get the leg higher up in the air. Please do not do this. A really comprehensive study published in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science proved that keeping your torso strict and upright perfectly protects your vulnerable lumbar spine from some pretty dangerous compression forces. And guess what? It still heavily activates those sleepy glute fibers. So keep it tight, keep it controlled.
Let's move smoothly right along to number 4 on our list, the standing hip abduction. We're going to stay right there at the kitchen counter for safety, but we're going to shift our mechanical focus from the back of the leg to the outer side of the hip.
All right, with your hands still resting lightly on the counter, stand completely upright and just look straight ahead. Slowly, lift one leg directly out to the side. And again, you really don't need to be a gymnast here. When I first started, man, even 3 inches felt like a massive workout.
You literally only need to lift the leg 3 to 4 inches off the floor to feel the side of your buttocks waking up and engaging. Just hold that lifted position for 1 solid second and then lower it with strict control. You're going to want to aim for, say, 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps on each side.
Now, the totally crucial point for this specific movement is to keep your torso perfectly still. I mean, exactly like a marble statue. I know it's super tempting to lean your upper body sideways over the counter to sort of compensate for the weight of your leg. But if you cheat and lean, you're just utilizing your lower back instead of the target hip muscles we're so desperately trying to wake up. So stay straight and let the hip do all the heavy lifting.
No cheating.
Now, here's a totally fascinating dynamic. Clinical research from the Journal of Orthopaedic and Sports Physical Therapy shows exactly why this is a literal lifesaver for your balance. So the leg you're lifting works the neglected gluteus medius, right? But amazingly, the glute on your standing leg has to contract violently just to keep your pelvis level and stop you from tipping right over. It creates the exact mechanical stability you need to stop those terrifying inward knee buckles. You know, the exact kind I experienced on my porch. It is a fantastic 2-for-1 deal for your lower body.
Moving right along to number 3, we have the side-lying hip abduction. For this one, we're transitioning entirely away from the kitchen counter and hopping right on to the safe, firm, and super comfortable surface of your mattress. This is fantastic because it completely removes any underlying fear of falling, which lets your nervous system totally relax.
So, just lie comfortably on your side and slightly bend your bottom knee to act as a nice heavy anchor for your body. Keep your top leg perfectly straight. Now here is the vital anatomical secret I discovered, so you gotta pay close attention right here. Rotate your entire top leg inward from the hip, so your toes are actually pointing slightly downward toward the mattress. Got it? Okay, once you have that angle locked in, take 2 seconds to lift that straight leg up toward the ceiling, hold it, and take 3 seconds to slowly lower it.
So why on earth are we pointing the toes down? Well, according to data from the International Journal of Sports Physical Therapy, that specific downward toe angle effectively deactivates your dominant thigh muscles. See, your thighs always want to cheat and take over the movement. Mine certainly did. But by pointing those toes down, you literally force the deep hip stabilizers to do all the work. It perfectly aligns the femur bone and acts as one of the absolute strongest protectors against chronic knee deterioration.
Guys, we are getting so close to the ultimate secret. Coming in at number 2 is the standard glute bridge. And since you're already on your safe, comfortable mattress, you can literally just roll right over onto your back. This makes it the absolute perfect restorative exercise to do right before you go to sleep, or heck, the moment you wake up in the morning.
To perform this safely, lie flat with your knees bent and your feet flat on the bed about hip-width apart. Now, before you even move, gently tuck your tailbone to flatten your lower back against the mattress. This puts your spine in a perfectly neutral, safe spot. Honestly, something I really wish I knew years ago. Okay, now press heavily downward through your heels and push your hips directly toward the ceiling until your body forms a straight diagonal line. Pause at the top, squeeze those glutes as hard as humanly possible for 2 seconds, and then lower yourself down slowly.
So what makes the glute bridge so magical? Well, first off, because you're lying horizontally, gravity isn't crushing down on your vertebrae. That means it creates absolutely zero vertical compression on your lower back. It protects your fragile spinal discs while simultaneously building the real, functional power you need to easily hop right out of a low armchair without groaning. It recruits those deep muscle fibers instantly and, most importantly, safely.
And finally, drum roll please, the moment we've all been waiting for. We have arrived at the climax of my personal discovery. I promised you the absolute most effective, vital daily habit that requires literally zero joint movement. Well, here is number 1.
It's the isometric glute squeeze. This right here is the ultimate tool for combating muscle amnesia because it relies entirely on repairing that broken mind-muscle connection. It requires absolutely zero equipment, zero balancing, and literally zero joint movement. That means it is completely accessible whether you're lying awake in bed, just sitting on the couch, or standing at the sink doing the dishes.
The daily prescription for this is just incredibly easy. All you got to do is focus your mind on your glutes and consciously clench them together as tightly as humanly possible. I mean, squeeze hard. Hold that tension for 5 to 10 full seconds, and then completely relax. Just let it go. Do this for 10 consecutive repetitions, maybe 3 to 4 times a day. And guys, the science on this is rock solid. A pivotal study in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science proved this simple electrical wake-up call actively realigns the pelvic bone and significantly reduces chronic lower back pain. It's a total game changer. As we bring this story home, I really want you to remember one cardinal rule: consistency over intensity. Look, I didn't fix my buckling knees overnight, but daily consistency completely changed my life. You don't need to sweat, you don't need to train until you're exhausted or out of breath. The goal here is simply to avoid any sharp pain and just chase that warm, slightly burning sensation of your dormant muscles finally waking up to support you again. Just pick 2 or 3 of these movements and do them every single day.
So I leave you with this final thought. Which of these simple, safe movements are you going to use today to rebuild the pain-free foundation of your youth? Seriously, don't wait for a terrifying near fall like I had to wake you up. Reclaim your confidence, reclaim your balance, and tell those dormant muscles it is time to get back to work. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, folks. Stay safe, stay strong, and keep learning.